Welcome everyone to the Savvy Ladies Wednesday Wisdom webinar. I'm Maggie Montemuro and I'm the marketing coordinator at Savvy Ladies. I'd like to remind everyone that if you have any questions during the webinar, you can type them into the chat box. If you're joining us by phone, please email your question to info@savvyladies.org. Today's presenter is Shurnette Henry, Managing Partner at Papillon Financial. Shurnette has over 15 years of experience in financial services. She is passionate about financial education and empowering individuals on wealth building. Shurnette is co-creator of Papillon's proprietary wealth coaching program, Peak, proactively educating and acquiring knowledge, where she guides people through wealth management strategies. We want to thank you for being here today, Shurnette, and let's get started.
Thank you so much, Maggie. I'm so honored to be on a Savvy Ladies webinar. Your company has done amazing things in terms of all of the information and tools that you provide to women, and I'm sure men as well, with respect to financial education and planning, and it's just really, really great to be here. So thank you everyone who's joined this conference call. Again, my name is Shurnette Henry. My firm is Papillon Financial. And I quickly want to tell you a little bit about what we do at Papillon, a little bit about our history, and then get right into the meat of this webinar, which is where you really need to start in order to really build out a wealth management plan for yourself. So we are a wealth management firm. We service individuals and small businesses. And essentially, we look at long-term growth opportunities using the traditional platform of financial products in order to assist our clients. We work with equities, fixed income products, mutual funds, and alternative investments. The way that we work with our clients is essentially through individual counseling sessions. And for small businesses, we do the same, strategizing based on everyone's personal life goals and their risk tolerance around their investments. Now, what makes us different from your traditional wealth advisor is a program that we designed that was in the making, I'd say about 3 years ago. We launched it last year, and we've been running coaching programs ever since, called PEAK. And as Maggie mentioned, the acronym PEAK stands for Proactively Educating and Acquiring Knowledge. So I want to give you just a little bit of background around how PEAK came to be. Several years ago, I was working with a retired football player by the name of Anthony Simmons, who owns his own organization where he wants to educate athletes around investments and wealth planning opportunities. We all think that athletes are introduced to an endless basket of money, which in a lot of cases they have been. But between the NFL and the NBA, the statistics show that almost 80% of athletes who end their careers after 3 years are financially bankrupt. And so Anthony is passionate about changing this number. And my business partner and I, when we started Papillon, or after we started Papillon and we were working with Anthony, we were asked to actually look into how we can assist in this problem. Now, I've always been the type of person who never really focused on one aspect of developing a task alone, meaning we're all given tasks at work. For example, we're charged with finding deliverables or coming up with deliverables. And what's really important that I think a lot of us tend to miss, and especially in the corporate world we tend to miss, is the human aspect, the person who's actually responsible for delivering whatever specific task that we have to deliver on. So with respect to the situation with athletes, I thought it was really, really important to not only look at what is technically happening with their money, but also what's happening behind the scenes as to how they got to be there. And so my business partner and I did some extensive research. We realized that it's not just frivolous spending. There's a lot in play that contribute to their overall situation, including, agents who did not serve them well, other individuals, the pressures of actually working with other athletes who are, more successful than they are, and, being responsible to family and friends and loved ones. And at the end of the day, with all of these social as well as technical money related pressures that they have, a lot of them end up going bankrupt. So, in order to really address the issue, especially once they've ended their careers and they really don't know what direction that they wanted to go in, I thought that it would be important to not only address showing them how to manage money better, but also giving them an intrinsic understanding of themselves and their own temperaments around how they're managing their money so that they can have a better grasp and a better chance at building their wealth for a longer sustainable amount of time. As we developed our program, we realized, well, athletes aren't the only ones who end up in this situation. And whether it's millions or hundreds of thousands or thousands that we all come into money, and we all, through our work, through our jobs, through our businesses, and we all need to know how to manage it better. And money is an intrinsic part of our overall health. So, what are the benefits of physical health? So, feeling better, it prevents you from getting sick, it allows you to do more. What do you do to stay healthy? Well, we diet, we exercise, we develop routines. And how does this tie into your financial habits? Well, in terms of financing or your finances, when you have a healthy financial strategy, it helps you to reach your goals better. It creates protection for you. It reduces anxiety and emotional and physical stress, which then ties back into your overall health strategy for your life. So, like a good physical health plan, building wealth is a lifelong change that incorporates consistent habits. Taking all of these elements into play, we designed our program Peak. And what we do with Peak is we combine study around human temperament and what people's tendencies are in life, and we marry that with their habits and their views around their money. This introduced us to a product that we use when we work with people called personality dimensions. And personality dimensions essentially is considered the building blocks for human behavior. It helps us understand ourselves and others. So, what do we want as human beings? Well, we strive for self esteem, but we seek it in different ways as individuals because of the different values, wants, aims, needs, motives, desires, and preferences that we all have. And these predispositions essentially drive our actions and our behaviors in every aspect of life. Just to give you a little history around personality dimensions, it lends itself to the study created through Hippocrates, scientists such as Carl Jung, Myers-Briggs, David Keirsey, Don Lowry, and Linda Behrens. And it basically, essentially does the following, or it states the following. Everyone is a blend of 4 character types. Personality dimensions uses colors and colored names to refer to those 4 types. And each person usually prefers one or more type, but we are all the 4 types of colors, and we all have strengths and weaknesses that make up who we are as people. Essentially, we're all plaid. So, some of the great advantages of using this tool is that it helps people to understand their own strengths and weaknesses. It recognizes an understanding of strengths and preferences of others. It helps us to improve communication and interpersonal relationships. And it helps us to realize the differences are actually gifts. And essentially, This helps us, the way we're using it, it helps us to allow people to understand themselves so they can incorporate what they know about themselves into how they view their money and how they work with their money. So I want to take a moment just to give you an example of two different color types, and then we're going to get into the meat of what it is you should be doing financially in order to build wealth for yourself. If you take a look at this photograph, you see this woman with, the telescope in front of her, and you have someone who looks like he's a scientist, and thoughts come to your mind around what this means to you. If you just take a moment, look at it, you have the owl. What does it speak to you? What does it say to you that this type of person could be? Maybe a person who is very wise, someone who likes to work on different projects. This color is called an inquiring green. And the essential behaviors of an inquiring green is that they are perfectionists and high achievers. They escalate their standards. They use clear and direct language. They are architects of change and they're visionary. They're the perpetual student. They're always striving to learn and understand things more. They have a propensity for impatience with incompetence, and they dislike redundancies, and they can be a little argumentative because they enjoy debates, getting into the meat of things. They're quick wit and very clever humored. A different color type is an orange. When you look at this photograph, you see the saxophone, you see this girl who looks like she's very whimsical. There's a lot of movement, there's a lot of action in this photograph, and it makes you wonder what this personality type denotes. Well, this is called the resourceful orange. And resourceful oranges, they are risk takers and they're adventurous. They're spontaneous and impulsive. They're very fraternal, and they use action words. They dislike routine. They welcome and they seek change. They're very competitive, and they're sometimes impatient with semantics. So why do I show you these two different color types? They're two of the four, because when you really have an understanding of your temperament and your tendencies, it really will help you understand why you choose to do things in a certain way, how you respond to different life events, and essentially for when we work with our clients, how our clients view their money and work with their money and work with different life events where their money has a direct impact on what they do and how they're building their wealth. So just to tie it all together, I want to talk about the four simple things that you should be doing with your money. So starting by building your future today, starting now, join a retirement plan or create the right kind of retirement plan for your business. So for example, if you are working for a company, look into seeing if that company is offering a 401k plan. If you're not contributing to it today, I would greatly encourage you to do so, because what you put into that retirement plan, especially if your company is matching you, today can be several $100s, but by the time you do retire, could be very substantial for your overall retirement life plan. And if you're a small business owner or a business owner, you want to look into perhaps a 401k if you're an individual, or a KEO if you have employees. Whatever the case might be, creating a retirement plan so that you can start to build your wealth now is definitely an essential action step that you should be taking for yourself. Opening up the right kinds of accounts that will allow you to pay bills, save, invest, and play. So even though when people hear that I'm an advisor, they feel that I focus mainly on investing my clients' assets into the market, which I do. We do so much more than that because we realize that it really takes understanding your full money plan, your daily money path in order to build wealth. So, what are you doing today with the cash flow that you have coming in every week or bi weekly or monthly from your salary? Are you budgeting effectively? Are you putting money away into a an emergency fund? Are you creating an account for yourself that you can use just to have fun with? When you're doing all of those things, as well as creating an investment strategy where your assets are invested in the market, whether that be real estate or the stock market, then you're truly living a more holistic life with your money. So, an inquiring green, how would they address starting a retirement plan? I've actually worked with several inquiring greens. And what I have found is, they are the type of person to jump in and jump in by understanding exactly what it is they need to be doing so that they can map out their life strategy effectively. So by comparison, what would an orange do? That's the type of person, as I had mentioned, is a risk taker, likes to take chances, um, looks at the big picture. I have found in working with oranges that it's a lot harder to get them to really sit down and look at numbers. In fact, a lot of them hate looking at numbers. But essentially, looking at your money plan and looking at your figures is going to allow you to really achieve what it is that you need to achieve when you're ready to live the life that you truly want to live now. So the question is, if you are an orange, what are you doing now to ensure that you are setting up your money strategy? And when I say money strategy, your daily money strategy for yourself. Um, what tactics are you using in order to bypass your propensity to ignore it and actually make sure that you have all of your accounts working so that you actually build the wealth that you're trying to build? This is how we work with our clients. We really take a look at their core temperament and then we help them structure a plan around how you can manage your assets based on what you're most likely to want to do and build on those good habits and structures that will allow you to still enjoy hang gliding or whatever it is that you want to truly do with your time and build wealth so that when you're ready, you have a secure cushion for yourself. So, the next thing that everyone should be doing is getting out of debt, paying off or paying down bad debt while building your credit worthiness with good, reasonable debt solutions. If you have an immense student loan, what are you doing to address that loan? Or if you have credit cards, especially credit cards being not good debt as opposed to owning a home, what are you doing to actively attack bringing down those credit card bills? Putting money into long term investments. This is really important. And what I find often is that people start looking at their money plan, they start creating a budget for themselves, they start trying to lower their debt, especially their bad debt, and then they stop short at investing. Everyone is deathly afraid of the market, most people at least. And it's really important to consider that equities have, for example, have experienced the most growth over a longer period of time than any other asset class. Think about that. More than real estate, equities have grown when you're holding them over a longer period of time. And while the market can scare us because it does have its trend of being high and then going very low, which we call volatile, over a long period of time when you're holding your positions, the market has shown to do very well for investors. When you're investing, as opposed to holding your money in a bank account, you have the opportunity to not only earn money on your principal, but also to earn money on your invested interest that you have in those accounts. So your money has a chance of growing more over a longer period of time. And building cash reserves. This is so important. Everyone has always talked about building an emergency fund of 3 months. After our recession and the state of our current economy, I actually now tell people to try and see if they can have 6 months worth of reserves. It might take a lot for you to get there, but it will definitely be beneficial to you in the end. Also, establish a liquid account so that you're prepared for any of the unexpected. I also encourage people, like we all have money or accounts that we use to pay our bills. Open up an account also to have some fun with, and make sure that all of your accounts are automated. And what that means is most of us now have our paychecks automatically transferred into our bank accounts. Also have portions of that money go directly into a savings, directly into an account that's set up as an emergency fund, and directly into an investment account so that you don't even have to see it. And all that you expect is the net that is left once you have allocated your assets accordingly between your bills, your reserves, your fund account, and your investments. So, some short tips for long term investing: create a highly diversified portfolio. So, invest in a diversified portfolio of equities, bonds, mutual funds. Continue to contribute to it on a regular basis and watch your money grow. Select an amount that you're comfortable with and make those regular contributions, even if it's $50 a month. Continue to contribute to these investments on a regular basis and do it often. So that ties back into automating what you do with your money. When your check comes in, allocate a certain amount of that to your investment account. And essentially, very easy, what are the benefits? Contributing a set amount each month can help budgeting strategies. It increases the amount of shares that you purchase. It can put an investor in a better position for continued portfolio growth. It creates less stress for you than trying to time the market, and it creates consistency. Also, get advice. Get advice from someone that you trust who's qualified in order to really show you not only how to manage your money, but also to manage your investments. And those are two different people. And one of the mistakes that I find a lot of people make is that they hear that someone is an advisor, and so they think that they're also an accountant and a money manager. And while some of these skills do overlap, an accountant is very different from someone who is a CFP who just manages money, who is very different from someone who is an advisor who actually invests your money into the stock market. So really ask questions with whomever you're speaking with, who you plan to have manage your money, about what it is they specifically can do for you. Now, beyond understanding yourself, it is important to determine your strategy. So determine where you are currently with your finances. What do you want to achieve, and what type of investor are you? How much risk can you tolerate? Understand your risk profile, whether you're conservative or you're a moderately conservative investor. This all will tie back to how you're managing your daily assets in your budgeting plan, how much you invest into or allocate to your investment account, and for your overall happiness. But the place that you have to start first is with yourself. You have to understand your temperament, your habits, your strengths, and what will lead to success for you so that you can continue to duplicate those skills, those habits. This ties me back into, again, how I work with my clients. So with Peak, we've actually gone beyond the athletic world. We offer coaching programs to individuals, whether you are an individual working your 9 to 5 job, a young executive, whether you're an entrepreneur, and we coach you for 6 weeks around how to build wealth And where we start is with taking you through a really fun live workshop where you take that evaluation using personality dimensions to really understand who you are. And I tell you, it's a lot of fun. A lot of people always think that they're something that they realize that they're not. So, how does our program work? Well, it's a group climb. You're going to be in a coaching session with several other people who also want to be successful with how they're building wealth. And you have a team of professionals working with you, including an executive coach, a certified financial planner, and a financial investment advisor. It's mostly virtual, it's a group climb. We do online tutorials. We have group support calls, and we develop a working budget for you, as well as an investment strategy, all tailored to your temperament and your life situation. We are actually starting our next climb on September the 26th, which is this Saturday. I'm really, really excited. And for anyone who's on the call today, I'd love to invite you to be a part of that. So if you are interested, even though this is essentially last minute, I would love to hear from you. Send me an email to shenry, and it's here at the bottom, at papillonfinancial.com. So that's SHENRY at papillonfinancial.com. In the subject line of the email, put Savvy Climber and let me know that you're interested and how to reach you, and we can get you set up to join us this Saturday. So that's all that I wanted to share with you right now, because our finances could really take all day. But as long as you have the meat, the really important stuff that you need to know and understand about what you should be doing now in order to build wealth, you are on the right track in order to truly create a plan for yourself. But the way that you really need to do it is to start with self. Make sure that you really have a good understanding of your temperament and your habits, and know how that incorporates with how you work with your money so that you could truly be successful. Thank you.
Thanks, Shurnette. That was a really great presentation. And we'll move on to some questions now. Our first question that came in is, what can I do to find an advisor who is right for me based on my personality?
Well, we could actually take our you could actually take our program. So first of all, I think it's important to understand what your personality is. There are also other sites that allow you to interview and watch videos of advisors who provide a whole plethora of services to individuals. Um, I have to admit that I don't remember the name off the top of my head, but what I can do is I can email that information to Savvy Ladies, and hopefully they could share it with their community. Also, I think it's important to ask questions. Some of the questions that you should be asking an advisor is, what are their credentials? How do they like to work with their clients? What do they focus on? What's most important to them? And how seasoned are they in what they're doing? Those are just some of the questions that you should be asking any advisor. And also understanding, without even taking the evaluation, just understanding yourself. If you know that you're the type of person who likes to meet with people in person, who really wants someone who's going to be hands-on with you, those are some of the questions that you should be asking any advisor you sit with, to find out if their style really resonates with how you'd like to work with them.
Okay, great. And another question, is there a personality type that just doesn't want to deal with money, maybe an avoider type? And are there any tips for how someone can address that?
Yes, it's the orange. That's essentially the resourceful orange that I showed in the slide presentation. You know, they are dynamic people. They are always thinking up fantastic new ideas on, you know, how to make the world more exciting and better for themselves. But they just it's so difficult to get them to sit down and really look at numbers and their money. And what I have found is when I do work with people who are oranges, what helps is when we automate things. So if we take time with them to really sit down and structure a financial strategy, a budgeting strategy, an allocation of their assets in a way where they don't have to look at it every month, I find that that makes their lives happier because everything that they need to have happen with their money is still happening, but now they can go on and they can just enjoy life on a daily basis with a good professional in the background to call them in every once in a while to keep them up to date on what's happening with their assets.
Okay, great. And another question that came in is I'm basically living paycheck to paycheck. I think I can find $50 a month for savings. I've deferred my student loans for another 6 months. What should my priority be? An emergency fund or to start trying to eliminate my student loan debt?
That's a great question. You know, I would really need to understand exactly where a person's student loan debt is before I could specifically answer that question for that individual. Because so many people in America have student loan debt, but if you're making, for example, $50,000 a year and you have $30,000 worth of student loan debt, and your life situation is such where you can allocate a good majority of your salary to that debt, what I would do is I would encourage you to lower that debt quickly. I still think it's important to create a little bit of reserve for yourself because you never know what could happen. So even if it's a few dollars every month going toward a separate account that adds up to a couple $100, that is definitely something that you should look to do. However, if you're someone who has $60,000 in student debt and you are completely strapped out, you may want to consider, because it's not going to go away anytime soon, putting more toward a reserve, the things that are going to potentially come up in your immediate future while you still address your student loan on a long term basis.
Okay, great. Well, we want to thank you again, Shurnette, for a really helpful and interesting presentation. And thank you so much for your offer to the Savvy Ladies community. I just want to say again, you can email shenry@papillonfinancial.com. And I believe you said use Savvy Climber as the subject line.
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, thank you to everyone who joined us today and asked questions. We hope you'll join us again, and we'll send out the information that you mentioned to everyone who registered. And thank you again so much for your time today, Shurnette.
Thank you. It's been great to be a part of this.
Thank you.